Big news out of Europe. French President Emmanuel Macron is hosting an emergency summit in Paris. The topic? Ukraine's war and Europe's growing frustration with being left out of the most important peace talks. Here's what's happening. The US, led by President Trump, is forging ahead with its own negotiations with Russia. These talks are happening in Saudi Arabia, and, you guessed it, Europe and even Ukraine have been left out of the room. In fact, Trump's envoy made it crystal clear. Europe, no seat at the table. That's got European leaders fired up, and honestly, can you blame them? After all, the war is on their doorstep, and they've invested billions in military aid, sanctions, and humanitarian support for Ukraine. So, Macron's gathering the heavy hitters, Germany's Scholz, the UK's Starmer, Poland's Tusk, Italy's Meloni, top EU officials, and NATO's new Secretary General. They're meeting in Paris to hash out a common strategy, show unity, and remind the world that Europe's security is on the line. Now the stakes are huge. If the US and Russia cut a deal without Europe, it could reshape the continent's security for years. European leaders are debating everything from more sanctions to sending reassurance forces into Ukraine if there's a peace deal. Some, like the UK's Starmer, say they'd even consider sending troops, if, and only if, there's a strong US security guarantee. This is about more than just Ukraine. It's about who gets to shape the future of Europe. Will it be decided in Washington and Moscow, or in Paris and Brussels? With big moves happening on both sides of the Atlantic this week, what happens next could change the game for Ukraine, for Europe, and for global diplomacy. Stick around for updates because this story is just getting started.
Elon Musk set off a firestorm on social media Thursday, alleging that former President Donald Trump is named in documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Musk claimed this was the reason the files have not been fully released to the public. However, Musk did not provide any evidence to support his claim. By early Saturday morning, Musk's post making the Epstein allegation was deleted, with users seeing a notice that the post had been removed. Another post from Musk, endorsing calls for Trump's impeachment and suggesting that Vance should replace him, was also deleted from the platform. The controversy erupted during a heated online feud between Musk and Trump. Trump responded on Truth Social, dismissing Musk's switch in loyalty and shifting focus to a major spending and tax bill under Senate consideration. Trump promoted the bill as delivering a record $1.6 trillion in budget cuts and the biggest tax break in United States history. He warned that not passing the bill could result in a massive tax hike and other severe consequences. Trump also claimed he had asked Musk to step down from a federal position due to mounting frustrations, and stated he revoked what he called Musk's electric vehicle mandate. However, there has never been a federal rule requiring Americans to buy electric vehicles, though tax credits have been used to encourage their adoption. Though Trump and Epstein knew each other, there have been no new revelations implicating Trump in Epstein's crimes, and released documents do not show evidence of wrongdoing. The public feud between Musk and Trump continues to unfold, with both men trading accusations and shaping the debate over policy, politics, and personal loyalty. Credits reporting from Time, ABC News, AP News, CNN Business, Al Jazeera, and NBC News. Big news out of the Middle East. The US just launched a major strike on Iran's nuclear facilities, and the ripple effects are already hitting global markets. If you're an investor, or just someone who fills up a gas tank, here's what you need to know. On June 22nd, US Air Force and Navy forces targeted 3 of Iran's most fortified nuclear sites: Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. 14 massive bunker-buster bombs and a barrage of Tomahawk missiles hit their marks in what the Pentagon called Operation Midnight Hammer. It was the U.S. only offensive move in the short but fierce Iran-Israel war that started on June 13th and ended with a Trump-brokered ceasefire less than 2 weeks later. Now, the markets hate surprises, especially when they come with risks of wider war in the world's main oil corridor. Immediately after news of the strikes, oil prices surged. U.S. crude shot up almost 3%, while Brent, the global benchmark, jumped over 2%. Some analysts warned that if Iran retaliated by closing the Strait of Hormuz, where nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through, prices could blast past $100 a barrel. But by Monday, things shifted. Oil actually dropped more than 7% after Iran retaliated, not by blocking oil traffic, but by striking a U.S. base in Qatar. With no immediate threat to tanker routes, the panic cooled, but the volatility was a wake-up call for investors everywhere. So, what's the bigger picture here? Investors are on edge. Whenever there's a spike in instability from the Middle East, markets tend to freak out. Stocks took an initial dive. Safe havens like gold and US government bonds started looking good, and everyone braced for more inflation. Higher oil prices mean higher costs for everything from shipping to groceries. That's especially worrying for countries like India, Japan, and Germany who import a lot of oil. And if energy costs keep rising, central banks might hold off on cutting interest rates, making borrowing more expensive for everyone. But here's a twist. A preliminary US intelligence report says the strike set back Iran's nuclear program only by a few months, contradicting political leaders' claims of a full wipeout. So, the risk of future escalation? Still very real. In the end, Operation Midnight Hammer might be over, but the uncertainty for global markets isn't. If you're investing, keep an eye on oil prices, safe haven assets, and most importantly, any headlines out of the Strait of Hormuz. Because in today's world, one night in the desert can shake the whole global economy by morning.
In the UK, lawmakers have voted on the Terminally Ill Adults End-of-Life Bill, a law about assisted dying for adults in England and Wales who are terminally ill. The law allows mentally competent adults diagnosed with an incurable illness and less than 6 months to live to request medical assistance to end their lives. The process is strict. The person must ask for it themselves, and 2 independent doctors must confirm the diagnosis and mental capacity. A review panel, including legal and mental health experts, must also approve each case to ensure the law is followed and the person is protected. Supporters say the law offers dignity and control to those suffering at the end of life, allowing a peaceful option for those in pain. Many who have watched loved ones suffer believe this is an act of compassion. Opponents worry about risks to vulnerable people, fearing some may feel pressured to choose death. They argue society should focus on excellent end-of-life care, not assisted dying. Faith leaders and many doctors believe every life is precious until its natural end. They point to palliative care as a way to manage suffering without ending life. The debate is about balancing personal choice with protecting the vulnerable. This law marks a significant shift in how the UK approaches end-of-life decisions. It raises questions about autonomy, compassion, and the role of medicine. The country is divided, with strong feelings on both sides. As the law moves forward, the conversation about dignity, suffering, and care continues. The challenge is finding a path that respects both individual choice and the value of every life. The new law requires 2 doctors to agree a person has 6 months or less to live, a prognosis that's never certain. Prognosis is a best guess, not a guarantee. Doctors rely on experience, but predicting life expectancy is notoriously difficult. Some people decline rapidly, others live much longer than expected. This uncertainty makes the 6-month rule hard to apply. Doctors face pressure if too cautious. A suffering person may be denied the law. If too lenient, someone may lose precious time. The rule creates a false sense of certainty in a deeply unpredictable situation. Illnesses can change course. New treatments may appear, and the human spirit can surprise everyone. Critics argue that basing such a final decision on a guess is risky. The 6-month rule, while intended as a safeguard, is a major point of debate. It highlights the challenge of making laws about life and death. The law's intent is clear, but the reality is far more complex. For many, this uncertainty is a reason for caution. The debate continues. Can we ever be sure enough to make such a choice? Real-life stories show that doctors' predictions about life expectancy are often wrong. Many people outlive their prognosis, sometimes by years, due to unexpected recoveries or new treatments. One man, given months to live with aggressive cancer, survived 3 more years and met his first grandchild. Another woman, told her heart would fail within 6 months, lived comfortably for 18 months with good palliative care. These stories aren't rare. They remind us that hope and resilience can defy medical expectations. If assisted dying had been chosen based on initial prognosis, these people would have missed precious time and experiences. A prognosis is an estimate, not a sentence. The risk of error is real, and the consequences are irreversible. Good care can sometimes change everything, even when a cure isn't possible. These examples urge caution in making irreversible decisions based on uncertain predictions. The law must account for the unpredictability of illness and the power of hope. Every extra day can hold meaning for patients and families. The lesson: we must be careful not to close the door on life too soon. Medicine is about probabilities, not certainties. The future is never fully known. That uncertainty is at the heart of the debate. Terminal illness brings not just pain, but powerful emotions: sadness, fear, loneliness, and guilt. Many feel like a burden to loved ones, which can influence their wish to die. Severe pain can cloud judgment, making death seem like the only escape. Yet, good palliative care can manage pain and change a person's outlook. Loneliness and isolation also weigh heavily, sometimes leading to despair. When people feel supported and connected, their desire for assisted dying may fade. Emotional suffering can be as intense as physical pain. Decisions made in moments of fear or loneliness may not reflect a person's true wishes. It's vital to ask, is the choice for assisted dying coming from peace or from pain and isolation? Addressing emotional needs is as important as treating physical symptoms. True choice requires support, reassurance, and relief from suffering. The law must ensure decisions are made freely, not from desperation. Before approving assisted dying, we must ensure every need has been met: physical, emotional, and social. A holistic assessment looks beyond illness to the whole person, their fears, hopes, and support systems. Many don't know how much palliative care can help: managing pain, breathlessness, and providing emotional support. Sometimes excellent care reduces the wish to die. Mental health matters too. Depression and anxiety can distort perspective, but are treatable. The law checks mental capacity, but is that enough? Has every support been offered? Social factors, loneliness, feeling like a burden, can drive decisions. Practical help and community support can restore hope. A choice made in despair isn't truly free. We have a duty to offer every form of life-affirming care first. Only after all avenues are explored should assisted dying be considered. The right questions must be asked to protect true choice. A major fear is the slippery slope, and that a law for a few could expand to many. In other countries, strict assisted dying laws have gradually broadened to include non-terminal illnesses and psychological suffering. Each change seems compassionate, but over time the law can drift far from its original intent. Safeguards may be weakened and more people become eligible. Opponents worry that future governments could relax the rules under pressure. The UK bill's 6-month rule and panel review are meant to prevent this. But history shows that boundaries can shift. The decision today shapes the future of society's values. The slippery slope is not just theory, it's happened elsewhere. The challenge is to protect against unintended expansion. The risk of misuse is greatest for society's most vulnerable, the elderly, disabled, and isolated. Pressure to choose assisted death may be subtle, feeling like a burden, or believing their life is less valued. Safeguards exist, but internal pressures are hard to detect or prevent. For some, assisted dying could feel like a duty, not a choice. People with disabilities fear the law could send a message that their lives are less worth living. There's also risk of financial abuse. Hidden motives are hard to uncover. Even with legal checks, it's difficult to guarantee choices are free from influence. Protecting the vulnerable is a core duty of society. The law must not fail those most at risk. Every safeguard must be robust and vigilant. The stakes are too high for anything less. For many, especially in faith communities, life is sacred. A gift that only nature or God should end. Ending life, even to relieve suffering, crosses a moral line for them. This belief is rooted in the dignity and value of every person, regardless of illness or age. Suffering, they argue, can have meaning and bring people together in compassion. The focus, they say, should be on comfort, companionship, and support, not on ending life. Legalizing assisted dying could shift society's attitude, making some feel their lives are less valued. There's concern that efforts to improve palliative care might weaken if assisted dying becomes normal. For these groups, the answer is better care, not a change in the law. They call for more hospice and palliative resources for all. True compassion, they believe, means walking with people through suffering, not ending it. The debate is about what it means to value every life. The end of life. Bill raises profound questions about compassion, choice, and care. Supporters see it as a way to prevent suffering and offer dignity at life's end. Opponents worry about risks to the vulnerable and the value of every life. Both sides want a more compassionate world, but differ on what that means. The debate is about how best to care for those facing death. Listening to all voices, patients, families, doctors, faith leaders and advocates is vital. Safeguards must be strong and palliative care must be prioritized. Perhaps the answer is not choosing sides, but combining respect for choice with a commitment to care. The law's future will shape how we treat the most vulnerable among us. The conversation must continue with compassion at its heart.
The FBI, long a fortress of secrecy, is once again at the center of a national storm. On February 20th, 2025, Kash Patel became the Bureau's 9th director after a razor-thin Senate vote, sparking immediate controversy. Patel, known for his Trump administration ties and lack of traditional law enforcement experience, wasted no time making waves. In a late-night social media post, Patel announced the declassification of FBI documents related to the 2020 election, alleging foreign interference by the Chinese Communist Party. This wasn't a quiet release, it was a public challenge to the official narrative of the past 5 years. Patel handed the files to Senator Chuck Grassley, igniting a high-stakes congressional inquiry. The documents detail a sophisticated foreign operation to influence the 2020 election in favor of Joe Biden. At the heart, a confidential source who provided actionable intelligence about a scheme to produce and distribute fraudulent documents for illegal voting. The release forces a fundamental re-examination of the 2020 election and the FBI's role in shaping public perception. Patel's move marks a sharp break from his predecessor, suggesting the Bureau may have suppressed evidence of fraud. The timing and nature of this declassification raise profound questions about the integrity of America's democratic institutions. The declassified files reveal a stunning claim. The Chinese Communist Party orchestrated a massive effort to flood the U.S. with high-quality counterfeit driver's licenses. These IDs were allegedly paired with fraudulent mail-in ballots to create thousands of phantom voters for Joe Biden. The operation exploited expanded mail-in voting, using fake IDs to bypass voter verification in key states. The FBI reportedly received this intelligence in August 2020, months before the election. Yet the Bureau failed to act or alert the public, raising serious questions about its priorities. Meanwhile, Customs and Border Protection intercepted large shipments of counterfeit licenses from China and Hong Kong, incidents previously dismissed as petty crime. The new documents suggest these shipments were part of a coordinated, politically motivated conspiracy. The American public was assured the election was secure, even as the FBI sat on evidence to the contrary. The puzzle pieces now fit: a foreign plot, ignored warnings, and a system vulnerable to exploitation. The narrative of foreign interference is no longer theoretical. It's documented and demands answers. The allegations of election fraud are deeply entwined with the Biden family's financial ties to China. Patel claims Chinese money flowed not just to Hunter Biden, but to key administration figures, including the CIA director. Investigations have uncovered millions from Chinese state-linked entities to Biden family businesses, often through opaque deals with firms like CEFC China Energy. The implication: Chinese investments weren't just business, they were strategic, cultivating influence at the highest levels of U.S. power. The declassified documents suggest a quid pro quo: financial benefits in exchange for political protection and a blind eye to foreign interference. The claims aren't based on anonymous sources alone, they're backed by testimony and digital evidence from inside the Biden circle. Hunter Biden's laptop, once dismissed as disinformation, contains emails and documents showing the family leveraged political connections for lucrative foreign deals. Tony Bobulinski, a former business partner, publicly stated Joe Biden was directly involved, slated to receive a cut from a Chinese joint venture. Devin Archer, another associate, testified that Hunter's value was his access to the Biden brand, with Joe Biden joining calls to impress foreign partners. This evidence reveals a pattern: the Biden name was monetized for foreign interests, especially in China. The financial and election interference allegations are two sides of the same coin, each reinforcing the other. Perhaps most damning is what the FBI did with its knowledge. The Bureau formally recalled the intelligence report on the Chinese fake ID plot on September 25, 2020, just after Director Wray told Congress there was no evidence of coordinated voter fraud. The recall buried the one report that contradicted Wray's public assurances. The official reasoned doubts about the source's credibility. But such concerns are usually handled by further investigation, not erasure. The timing, weeks before the election, suggests a desire to suppress, not verify the intelligence. This decision protected the narrative of a secure election and shielded the Bureau from political fallout. Critics argue the FBI prioritized institutional stability over its duty to investigate credible threats. The contrast between Wray's caution and Patel's aggressive transparency exposes a deep schism within the agency. The FBI's credibility is now on the line, caught in the crossfire of America's partisan wars. Patel's revelations don't just cast doubt on the 2020 election, they fuel the ongoing impeachment inquiry into President Biden. House Republicans have traced millions in foreign payments to the Biden family, now linked to a possible Chinese plot to influence the presidency. The new evidence transforms the impeachment narrative from personal enrichment to a national security crisis. These allegations echo a broader pattern of Democratic Party controversies, from the 2016 DNC leaks to claims of deep state manipulation. Figures once dismissed as fringe, like Patrick Byrne, now find their warnings partially vindicated by official FBI documents. The Senate Judiciary Committee, led by Chuck Grassley, has launched a formal investigation, demanding all unclassified FBI material by July 1, 2025. This inquiry is a pivotal moment, pitting new FBI leadership against defenders of the 2020 election's legitimacy. The stakes, nothing less than public trust in American institutions. For years, claims of a compromised election were dismissed as misinformation. Now the FBI's own documents suggest otherwise. The revelation of suppressed intelligence risks shattering faith in the FBI, DOJ, and the press. The perception of a partisan double standard, one set of rules for each political tribe, threatens the rule of law. The Senate must navigate a polarized landscape where every fact is weaponized. Regardless of the outcome, the damage to public trust is profound, and rebuilding it may take a generation. Alright, let's talk about the latest in the Trump-Musk saga, and why business pros everywhere are glued to their screens right now. So here's the headline. President Donald Trump has absolutely no interest in talking with Elon Musk. That's straight from the White House, and it comes after what's been a jaw-dropping public fallout between two of the business world's biggest names. You might remember, these two weren't always at odds. Musk was once a major backer for Trump. Think campaign donations, high-profile advisory roles, even helping push some of Trump's own business initiatives. But now, that relationship has hit the rocks. And I mean hard. The drama really exploded this week. Trump's tax and spending bill drew sharp criticism from Musk, who warned it could drive the national debt sky high. Then, boom, Trump called Musk out publicly, and Musk shot back online, not pulling any punches about Trump or his economic policies. But here's where things get real for business. Tesla's stock absolutely tanked, down 14% in a single day. That's $152 billion wiped off Tesla's value, the biggest single-day drop the company's ever seen. Imagine the ripple effects, shareholders panicking, analysts scrambling, and a lot of folks on Wall Street wondering what's next for the EV giant. On top of that, Trump didn't just stop at harsh words. He threatened to cut off billions in federal subsidies and contracts to Musk's companies, Tesla, SpaceX, you name it. That's not just a headline, that's a genuine risk to revenue streams, R&D budgets, and honestly, future innovation in everything from electric vehicles to rockets. Musk, for his part, briefly threatened to wind down SpaceX's Dragon program, which, by the way, is currently America's only ride to the International Space Station. Cooler heads seemed to prevail later, but the market's nerves still very much on edge. Now here's the big picture. The Musk-Trump feud isn't just personal, it's exposing real fractures within the Republican Party, especially over that tax bill. Musk's public criticism is giving voice to a growing split over whether this legislation helps or hurts the economy long-term. Some analysts are warning it could balloon the deficit by $5 trillion, which is not a small number even for DC. For business leaders watching all of this, the lesson is clear: when titans clash, the aftershocks hit hard, on Wall Street, in boardrooms, and even in the halls of Congress. So, as this feud keeps unfolding, I'm keeping my eye on the numbers, the policies, and the personalities, because this is about way more than just two egos. It's about the future of American business itself.